going to talk about the F plane or the flat plane today. We're going to be looking at how to use this plane as it should be used, primarily for stabilization. We don't typically do a lot of movements in this plane, so think of like jumping jacks or snow angel kind of movements from the arms and the legs. That's pretty much the extent of any big movements that you might do. Not that a lot of adults do those movements unless maybe they're in the military or some kind of exercise-based movements. So it's a little trickier to identify the use of the F plane and to ensure that you're using it properly because it doesn't give as much feedback. So there's things you can do to enhance that in sitting, standing, and with movement. So we're going to go over those. So first, in sitting, you want to be able to differentiate, especially with the hips, between the F plane and the T plane here, because while the F plane muscles are more stabilization, those T plane, those rotator muscles, are more movement based. So you want to be careful there, because if you're overusing T plane muscles, twist muscles, rotational muscles, such as like the piriformis, if you have like a sciatica or some kind of hip or back pain, that can be very problematic. So you want to think more of like the gluteus medius on the side, right just around and in front to the gluteus maximus in the back, versus something like the TFL in the front, which is, while it does work in the F plane as an abductor, it is also an internal rotator, so you got to be very careful with that. Not to say that the gluteus maximus is an S plane muscle primarily, but it does also work in external rotation. So what you really want is you want to get a combination, if you can, of the adductors along the inside. You can see this a little better here, right along the inside seam of the pants here, up towards the groin, and that actually feeds into the core to help lift us up. But you want to get it more into that. Now I want you to think about, maybe if you've seen this or experienced this or used this machine, like in the gym they have a machine where your feet are on like these little platforms and your knees are kind of like up here, and so when you bring in and out, it's like this kind of motion. So you want to differentiate again between that and something like where you're turning the hips in and out. It's more of this like rotational movement. That's more of like something like this, a true ab, but abduction, abduction versus adduction, adduction on the inside, okay? So we want to get, again, like that combination. I'm going to pull in. If I'm looking at my right side here, I'm going to maybe use this hand. I want to keep tall, stabilize, maybe rotate a little bit so I get into here, pull in, try to pull in from the foot as well as you push down into the ground. Primarily, you want to twist. As you're twisting, you want to twist back through the pelvis to get to the glute max, the S glute. Keep that chest up, pull back, like almost like you're going to stand up, but pull in from the knee and the foot so that you're not doing this. You're pulling in like this, okay? And pull back and stabilize that way. And you want to use that, you want to try to get a sense of using that adduction to actually help pull your body weight up on top of that stable leg. So it's like if you're slouching like this, you want to like that, okay? You want to just slide up, like up the hill sideways. Same thing I could do on the other side, kind of pull. As I pull in, I want to pull my weight up and over. And so when we're standing, right, I'm pulling in and up like here, right? And then I can actually lift and hike here from the outside, from the gluteus medius, the F glute. So I pull back into the max, ground down through the heel as I lift up. I'm twisting kind of over there, and then I'm pulling in here to shift my weight over, and then I lift up here to lift, level, or in the case of walking, kind of hike the hip to clear the ground and take my next step. So speaking of steps, what you can do is you can put a foot up on a step. That's a little high, but maybe like the first step, okay? And you can come across here and put on the inside, and you can practice that kind of shifting, okay? Shifting and pulling in, pulling back into the hip, grounding down all together. And again, like when you're walking, like that idea of pulling in, lifting up, and then hiking. So you can practice into a full extension with a combination of the inner and outer with the glute max in the rear, and then the abdominals in the front in the S plane. So combination S and F for maximum stability and good control, and hopefully less pain or less imbalance in your body, whatever it is that's giving you trouble.